everybody, and welcome to episode. It's 421 because last week was 420. There we go.
420 part 2. We'll leave that to Briar, who couldn't make it this week.
Tefty's here. So
420 additional. Sorry, I missed 420 episode.
It's four Tefty. Wow. 4 Tefty.
I was just knee deep in marijuana. Legal marijuana in California.
Yeah, legal.
Knee deep in my dispensary.
Yeah.
This guy sounds like a narc. Look at him. He's got
He's trying to get us to.
I was knee deep in my dispensary. I tell you, on 420. That's where I was.
Dispensary, procuring my sweet, delicious bud. The Gorilla Silverback. Fine taste you have.
How is everyone?
Hello.
Good.
Feeling good. Good.
Yeah.
I've been gaming. My gaming experience has been very interesting this week.
What?
Did you
not know this, Fran?
No, I didn't see this yet.
You hit your keyboard too hard? Busted your wrist?
Yeah. But I can do a real
Judo
good thumbs up.
Wow.
No, I hurt my thumb at jiu-jitsu training.
Yeah. So it was a judo chop.
It was a judo chop before Easter, and it was very sore. And I was like, it won't be broken. And then
definitely.
I went camping. That's why I was away last week. So I went camping for 5 days. And then I thought, I better get this x-ray. It's still a bit sore. And yeah, it is obliterated. Like I've got multiple fragments in my thumb that's been pushed apart. And ironically, I've got a referral back to the clinic, which was my first job as a hand therapist. So
wow.
So where you're giving handies, you're going to get some therapy for your handy.
Yeah, wristies, yeah.
Your wristy McCandies.
Wristy McCandies.
Yeah. So that's why I've been using a foot pedal to jump and crouch because I can't hit the space bar. And I also because of I can't get my pinky to like other buttons like control and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So all of you who died to a Myelin in marathon, just know you were fighting this guy and you should feel ashamed.
Yeah, I was basically using bongo drums and a banana.
Yeah, you should pull out the Donkey Kong.
Me playing marathon like this.
People do that stuff, and it's huge, man. That would be thousands of concurrents. Is this the first time you broke something in jiu-jitsu, or it's like another?
Yeah, this is probably I've dislocated my shoulder before, but this is the first like something snapped. And it was the lightest guy at the club too. He's only 50 kilos, but he's like a purple belt, and he didn't do anything bad. It just like my thumb got caught, and I didn't know because I didn't even see it because it was like out of sight. It was kind of on top of it, and I was like, "Wow, that hurts."
Does this give you pause for that doing jujitsu? Because like it could affect endeavors.
He has one
professional
of his
endeavors.
A paw.
I mean, I don't know. It's like anything. You can hopefully not. I mean, this is the first injury I've had in like 15 years. That's of this magnitude. So
you're getting older.
You know.
Yeah, you are going to break things more often. Yeah. That's true.
But it has got me out of changing nappies. So dishes.
Oh, double silver lining.
Wow. Okay. Might be worth it.
No, but it's been your foot pedal for jumping.
It is annoying because I'm going through obviously the public system. It's actually I feel for my patients now. When I was back there, it's just like, I rang up. They don't have the referral. They don't have your name. I was like, bro, I need to see a surgeon, please. Then they're like, we can't do anything more to you in the system. Good luck. So,
do you guys have free healthcare like Canada or?
Yeah. So like I'll have this operated on for free and everything. But that process does take some time, and you know, a lot of systems, like anything, don't talk to each other very well. So I saw it. I got referred at another hospital, and then trying to get to the actual plastic surgery clinic is not very good at communicating. So
yeah, but what's funny is in the US we still have all of that, tons of referrals and extra, and we still just have to pay out.
And then you also have to, because even if you are approved by your doctor to go somewhere, then they have to contact insurance to see if insurance is okay with you healing yourself. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So you have to
hopefully, what's that?
You have to actually get surgery for it.
Most likely because I've got the X-ray and it is nasty, and It
Jeez, that
is.
sucks, man.
Oh,
You DM'd it to me if you want to just pull up
Actually,
pull up
I
the DM and show people.
I can actually show you. Hold. Here we go.
It's in the Twitter DMs.
You like a hand therapy lesson? So yeah, this is a pretty big fracture here,
Oh,
and
fracture.
these little
Damn.
bits going into the joint
Bits.
is obviously really bad.
The bits shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
Those
these
bits
little
shouldn't be there.
cracks into the joint usually need to be fixed. So yeah, and
Too
I was
much,
just
man.
camping with this. I was like, it doesn't feel too bad. I was lifting
You like
lifting
lifting
Eskies.
logs and splitting wood with that hand.
Yeah.
Well, hope you feel better and recover soon, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that
Hopefully.
your beer opening thumb?
I mean, it is hard. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter which way you do it because you can't hold a beer in this hand. And
That's true. You have to
Yeah.
like push it up against it.
But if I was holding it and was letting you open it while I held it, which hand would you use?
Yeah.
Like if I held the
What's
can
that?
for you. If I held the can for you,
Yeah, I would just have
which
to use
hand?
my right hand.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. You're
That's
okay with
good.
that.
You're
Right,
set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
You're,
foot
you're
pedal.
ambidextrous when it comes to can opening.
Yeah. Well, I was really worried about the gaming stuff because
Yeah.
I'm actually getting more pain in my pinky from it trying to like push against the cast and reach buttons than I am in the actual fracture part, and then not being able to press everything. And I can't obviously hold a controller either because
Right.
I'm gonna have to do like a claw grip.
We might have
Yeah,
to
claw
get
hand,
you.
have to officially.
We might have to get you something for you to play with for one-handed
Yeah. One
people.
of the accessibility pads.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, the foot pedal was someone suggested like, oh, you're very OT. That's like what my job used to be. That's a great design. I just
Maybe you
have a
need
foot pedal,
more foot pedals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need like another one up here for my elbows, like jump.
Well, what you need to do, you need to get an organ foot controller, organ foot MIDI controller. So you have all those pedals on the bottom. So you have like a full octave of buttons to use.
Yeah.
And then you just be
Well,
just map them
slapping
out
your
like-
feet around.
I've seen people who have like quadriplegia and stuff like that. They've got like head controls, like buttons
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
On the and then I've got a button that is like blow suck, and you have it in your mouth like a
What?
straw. Yeah, I know it sounds dodgy. Yeah, it's like in your mouth, and you go like you blow on it, and that would be like sprint, and you
No,
suck on
I'm
it, and
just
that would be, like,
thinking
jump or something.
about Myelin having this and being in Discord, and you just hear blowing, and you're like, "Oh, he's fighting someone over there."
Just every stream title, the blow suck stream.
The blow suck.
Blow suck. Yeah. Yeah, mouth control.
Well, I think you might have to get that, Myelin. I mean, you might have to get something, honestly, if depending on how
science.
long it takes,
At
to
the
be
bare
honest.
minimum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could be out for like 12 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might
Especially
legit want to
with
get
getting
something.
getting a surgery scheduled and all that. I'm sure it takes time.
Yep.
You have to see the surgeon. Did you already
Jesus.
see the surgeon?
No, that's what I'm struggling to do at the moment
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
get into the clinic. Because I made the referral, then obviously it's like the referral's not there. It wasn't in the system, and then I've been calling back. I've been doing it on stream to me at bloody hours. I'm like, man, I know the system. I used to work in the clinic, and I still can't get hold of someone.
Yeah.
It's rough. Yeah.
It is rough. Anyway,
Oh, you might want to look
I've been
into
having
something.
lots of fun.
Yeah.
I've been playing lots of games. Lots of
Yeah.
games this week. So
Yeah. Games.
Oh, I
I did
imagine something like Path of Exile would be easier, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, also
Yeah.
you can get an MMO mouse
Elatro.
with like a ton of buttons on there.
Well, I do have a MMO mouse is probably the best solution, to be honest.
Mhm.
I do have a Tartarus, but
Yeah.
the splint is pushing my fingers up so high I can hardly reach the.
What if you
like
turn
this
it
one.
around?
I think I can just take that off. Actually, I probably could take that off. Yeah.
So Myelin
there's
has
a fair
been
few options out there now.
testing the accessibility options for Marathon.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing in his
Yeah.
early alpha access.
Yeah, pretty much.
Accessibility report by Myelin.
Well, it is
The handy
it is,
report.
It is interesting because when you start getting things like toggle and hold, what you've never really thought about as like an accessibility option before, they kind of are. Because when you're struggling to press buttons, if you can just tap it once, rather like I can't hold shift
Yeah.
remote, I can't hold run, but I can tap it once and
Yeah.
be set,
Yeah.
right? So stuff like that does help a lot.
Man.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I didn't know that when we were playing yesterday.
He's popping off. I played with him
didn't see me
today.
doing this when I was jumping.
But here's
When I was playing with Locust, the time looker one that's got the double jump, I'm like this every time I'm in battle. I'm like just trying to boost away. Yeah. I actually I played Oblivion, the RuneScape survival game this week, Blueprints, and Marathon.
wow.
The full plate.
Game huge. Yeah.
Big
Well, I'm not doing anything else, am I?
That's true.
True. Very
Sit
true.
around with a thumb up your no, never mind.
Yeah.
Your cast.
Well, shall we talk about Marathon?
Let's
The
do
big
it.
one. Marathon Alpha is here. It's a closed alpha. You had to sign a survey to get access to it. This is Bungie's new game. It's an extraction shooter, but there's aliens and it's sci-fi and stuff.
Aliens?
There are aliens, like the little bugs
haven't-
are aliens, but we haven't
True.
seen.
Okay.
I think on the Marathon ship map, there's more of that.
Spit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The-
I didn't know that. Wow.
This fits their name, and they're also called not convert. Are they called converters? Someone will recognize
The
it. They're the ones. They're the ones that have like the warlock cloak on and with the green in their chest, like they're kind of like levitating.
Yeah, Myelin.
They will-
Oh, sorry.
Go on. Oh, they were just one of the main enemies in Marathon. They're like a little bit vexy, and they like integrate into technology and like have
The ones that are
technology
floating
viruses.
when they're
Yeah.
not active in combat, they just float around like all
Yeah.
sentient style.
No,
Oh.
well, in the original, yes. In the current game, no. They're the ones. They're just normal robots or whatever.
They're just
but,
UESC dudes.
Oh, yo, you're talking about the original Marathon back in the 90s Marathon.
94.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
so
we
that-
saw the
and it-
compiler in the trailer. The first trailer was the compiler. Yeah.
Compiler. That's
Mhm.
that's right. Yep. So one of
Yeah,
I've been told they'll be on the Marathon,
Yeah.
like the ship Marathon,
Okay.
which is in the moon of.
So they are going to do more of that. We're just going to have to see how they do it. They're probably also still figuring it out.
Well, those little bugs, man, they are like
They
I think I've
hurt.
died more to those
A flood.
ticks than I have
Yeah.
died
Yeah.
to
Demolition
the
ticks.
bots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
Yeah, they
AI have
hurt.
been painful. Like,
Bungie
you can't
loves-
really.
Man.
They love
Yeah.
their flood thing.
Flood, thrall, and now what are these? Whatever these things are called, they're all the
Ticks.
same.
Four-letter
idea of-
acronyms that start with U.
The idea of pain. You're like, just a landmine like running at you, and they're really cool. Ticks. They're ticks in this game, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
May I tell everyone the story of how I got access to Marathon?
Oh gosh.
And
The saga.
So if you're doing creator stuff, first you have to fill out a form to be a Marathon creator. Then you get access to the Discord. Then they give you the survey, which is the same survey that everyone has filled out. But this is like a link that is like saying that you got this link for a creator. It's a creator code. That's why Myelin can play, because it's like a priority access code and you can use that anywhere in the world. Whereas the regular ones are only North America. He's fine. Mylin's
What a freeze frame on Myelin.
If you are watching, Myelin is looking up as if
You get,
the hand of God is coming down
Yeah.
to smash him.
He's like, dear God,
He's like,
don't talk about the compilers.
he's been raptured.
My lord.
I hope it comes back, dude.
Hope it comes back.
Dude, maybe one of them ticks got him.
back.
Yeah, you got the tick.
What? Your voice is back.
your
You might
voice
want
is
to
back.
turn video off and on again, maybe?
Yeah, refresh your.
That was weird. The whole computer just turned off.
Oh.
He's like,
Wow.
the Lord.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do your video card refresh thing.
Yo, it's
the
the lore face.
It is the
It's the
Leave it the rest.
realization of the lore.
Honestly, I think people would like you to just leave it the rest of the stream. Oh, he's gonna fix it.
I was going to clip it. Oh, it's still there.
Okay, there you go. That's me now.
That's
me.
okay.
That's
Perfect.
Let's go.
Good.
This is such a good frame.
This is actually perfect while I finish the story because you'll be like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. That's crazy.
very good.
Yeah, so you fill out a survey, which is a creator survey, which gives you a different type of code that you can use anywhere in the world because there's creators all over the world. I had been manually accepted and approved to get a code because that's what they were having some issues, and they're like, "Yep, you're all good to go. There's a batch of codes going out at 5 p.m. Pacific. You're in that batch," and I'm like, "Cool." it gets to 6:30, and I'm like, so just wondering when I should panic. So I get contacted by someone at Bungie because they're like, I'm thinking your account is in like a weird spot. So shout out to Harvey at Bungie, who is
I
a
got a hunch.
hacking mathematician or something. Because he was troubleshooting my account at 4:00 in the morning. I think he's on the East Coast, so it's maybe not so bad. But I got a message at 4:00 in the morning on Discord being like, I've been troubleshooting your account. Your Bungie account will not accept a code. No matter what we do, it's not accepting it. So if for those who don't have access to the alpha yet, if you go on Bungie.net and you go to redeem codes, there's an extra tab that it has like your game codes. So instead of having 3, you'd have 4. I don't have that. And my account says, no, thank you. I do not want a 4th tab. Not for me. So what they had to do after troubleshooting for hours and hours was to give me a Steam code to download Marathon on Steam. I then had to open it and hit an access denied screen so that they could work in the background to approve my account and make it work. So
weird.
I wouldn't have been able to play it tomorrow, a week from now, 2 weeks from now. As long as it's closed and you needed a code, I would not have been able to play the game at any point.
You were in real life marathon hacking.
I would, yeah.
Terminal.
Yep. They were hacking the terminal for me. And I was just like, guys, please, what's going on? I was like keeping an eye out on announcements. And I'm like, I filled out about 7 different surveys to try and see what's going on. It was, it's been like, it was multiple days, like all day checking Discord and announcements. And it was a lot.
Ironically, you asked Fran to give me a friend code and I got in straight away.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So Tefty and Fran's codes were from Fran because I don't have any friend codes. I don't have a me code. So thank God no one was waiting on my code because I don't have them.
Yeah, Watts organized all this, and I was like, yeah, well, I have these 2 friend codes, of course. And I made sure, like, I was like, Myelin can have one? It's like, yeah, they said it's okay because he's an outcast in Australia. But at the time, Watts was like waiting for her code.
Yeah.
And then in between what Watts is describing and that, she's like, it's just not working. Like, I don't even know if I can get in. Like, and then I had already given away those codes. So it was chaos.
There was no amount of links I could have used to get one. But I think it's good that it happened to me because I think it's good that it happened to me because if this is affecting other people, like I know people at Bungie who I can talk to about it and they can kind of see what's going on and see if it's affecting more people. So if it is affecting more people, hopefully them looking into my account has kind of helped them see if they can fix it for later in the alpha, hopefully.
All part of a playtest, but you got played.
That's the alpha test for you. That's one of the more boring bugs.
It is a boring bug.
You know,
just like there's a ghost in the machine.
What's going on?
Literally have no idea.
That they had to like actually access your account on like a server level or like a SQL level or something.
Yeah, it's because they're doing a thing with like I guess the reason they're doing it like this is because if you are banned in Destiny or something, that makes sure that you don't get a code rather than just like signing up and then you get sent a Steam code.
So you're banned in Destiny?
I'm banned. That's what it is.
Yeah. That it is good.
Bad actor Watts.
They're new. It is going to be interesting. That's their Bungie Net system includes all of the bad behavior on Destiny. So all these people
That's true.
that acted up in the past and now want to play a new game may be surprised.
If you've been a POS in Destiny,
you don't get a new shot here.
Myelin, your camera's off, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know if I just keep it off or I try again.
Can you turn it back on?
I can try. You know, I might just be able to turn it on normally. So just if you're happy to keep chatting, I can try again.
Okay. Yeah, give it a go. So, Marathon, we played it.
Yeah, we did
with
play
all that trial and tribulation, you finally got to play it.
I've got about 10 hours in Marathon. Yep. I've tried all the characters, although Locust I've only played for maybe 2 or 3 games. But the others I have like a decent amount of time on. How are you guys feeling? What's your initial impressions? Just initial first, how you feeling?
Yeah. So
I Tefty, exactly.
Yeah, I played 4 hours last night with you guys. I enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. Myelin's back.
Mine's back.
I didn't know what to expect, honestly, because I'm not a I don't really play the extraction shooter genre, so I haven't played Tarkov, I haven't played Hunt Showdown. But the Bungie experience is 100% in this game. Like you're like,
Yes.
oh, this is a Bungie game. You can feel it.
Yep.
You can feel like the sliding of the character, the reloading the gun, like the sounds of the guns. Like it's just this is classic Bungie type of development. So it feels good when you play it. It seemed like the networking was decent as well. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It it didn't feel like, oh, are we gonna experience Destiny 2 PvP type of like.
It felt
Yeah.
like dedicated
Problems?
service.
It felt like dedicated
Yeah, I
service.
mean,
Yeah.
it's
And even
huge.
for me in Australia, like
Yeah.
I had two experiences. Either it was working or not working. So occasionally I maybe had 3 or 4 games where I just didn't get hit markers. I could shoot and I would not get hit markers. But when we were playing together and it was working, like
Felt
I
good.
was never like dying behind a wall, like, oh, that was bullshit. I killed you first. Like,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
kind of expecting it to be a really poor experience with dedicated servers cross continents
And they're only in,
because a lot of other extraction games are like that even when you're on the right server. Like you'll be like, that
yeah.
desync is dog water. So that was impressive for sure.
yeah, I was
it
gonna say,
feels really good.
playtest servers still, so
Yeah.
they're only
Yeah, I
Well,
think
likely
what
to
they're
improve.
doing, if you're from like different continents, they're finding a server that's close, like middle ground for both of you. And because the servers outside of North America, there's like way less of them. That's why when we're playing with Myelin, it takes longer to like find a game because it's like on such small amount of those servers. But it felt great for me too. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
not have
Like-
any negative with that at all.
Just to like emphasize that point, like what Tarkov does is I can't play with you guys. Like it will say your ping is too high to play with US. Like your ping is 200, 300 milliseconds, whatever. Like it will just not allow us to go into a raid together. So people don't
Interesting.
abuse it as well.
Right.
So the fact
right.
that we could even just play together is, I think, actually pretty impressive for an extraction shooter and an alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt good. Like you said,
Felt
when it was
good.
working, it felt really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the highlight for me is I walked in not really knowing if I was going to enjoy what I played, and then I walked away. I was like, I had a lot of fun playing with you guys. Granted, we have fun when we play games, so there is that.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to filter that out of the equation right there for whether or not people would enjoy it. But if like you're looking for some sort of extraction, well, okay. So one thing is I don't think, as far as my knowledge is, there's no console big extraction shooter currently, right?
No.
Maybe there is something out there
I
that's
think
like
Hunt
indie.
Showdown is the only one.
It's the only one, yeah.
really. And then, well, when DMZ
Is that
was
on
out there
console?
for Warzone, but
Hunt
it
Showdown is,
That's-
yeah.
but it's
Oh.
old, you know.
I did not know that. Okay, yeah. Well, so this has got that like sci-fi, futuristic. What was it? It's not cyberpunk. It's there's a word for it.
What did they call it? Something realism.
Graphic realism.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Graphic
Yeah,
realism
that's
is what they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
this futurism, this like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
futurism type
yeah.
of thing. And I love the art style, like the aesthetic, the sound
Mhm.
effects, the feel, like the whole you're some cybernetic machine that, or you're getting printed out and your consciousness is being put in there every time.
Yeah.
I'm really into that type of stuff. So yeah, Ghost in the Shell type of thing. So like seeing that in the game and experiencing it in an extraction style, I thought was really clever. And you guys were saying that the pacing is faster than like the other extraction shooters, right?
Tarkov for sure. Which is intentionally meant to be
the-
very methodic, hardcore, and brutal. It takes tons of experience.
The maps are a lot tighter than
Yeah.
something like Tarkov, where you could, if you really want to take a long route, you can just avoid contact with all players at all times, kind of deal, and just do your own thing and never come across players if you want to be like kind of stealthy. Whereas I feel like with every game we played, we heard gunshots. We had to either make a
Yeah.
decision to make that fight or
Oh.
go our own way.
But
Whereas, yeah.
it's everything, though. You know, it's like, I mean,
Shoot to
certainly
kill.
there's the way the map is, but it's like just what Tarkov is meant to be. You're meant to be lying in the grass with either headphones on or off, or it's super
Yeah.
like I was talking to Teft about it a little about I use the term RPG. It's very much like this
Mm.
hardcore RPG of being in this militaristic zone and like crawling through the grass. And obviously you get better and don't have to worry as much. But my point is in this, you're very much encouraged to like shoot the AI, get into fights, and it's much faster to kind of get in and get out.
So for me, the most fun was getting in fights. So anytime we heard something, I was like, I'm bloodlust right now. I'm like, let's go kill those guys. They're shooting something. We need to shoot at them,
He's a dog
Because
after a squirrel.
yeah,
Every
it's
time.
just like, because that's like, I'm in a PvP experience. I want to shoot players, so
Yeah.
that was my initial thought. And I feel like I would still feel that way even with the RPG elements as it grows, because I'm still in the mindset of I'm there. Like I am leveling things up. I'm doing some faction stuff, but I'm still there to end people's run if
Well,
I come across them.
I think as well with this game, Tefty, I think it feels like that is, I don't want to say it's the right way to play, but it feels like the more the natural way that they want you to play this game, because this game doesn't feel like you're going to have to go on scav runs where it's like you've got absolutely nothing and you've got to go out there and try and recompile your stuff. It feels like you can very easily lose everything, go in with a broke boy loadout, go hunt a team that's fighting robots, kill them, take their stuff, and you're good to go again.
Have they
Yeah,
said
and that's fun.
anything about the intent of the current balance of that though? Like in other words, this is a play test, and yeah, like it's not even our loot. Do we have any idea if like this is the intended balance? I assume that, but I don't know if they talked about it. In other
I
words, if
think
they want to balance it.
I think it's probably pretty right on the money at the moment, because I've seen a couple of things with how, so like in other games like Tarkov, right? The same idea where you level your vendors, and as you level them, you get access to like a shield. You get access to like level 5 body armor, and then all of a sudden, like certain bullets won't penetrate that, like they just won't kill you. So you start getting a very distinct advantage by focusing on your contracts essentially and leveling up your vendors. You get access to better ammunitions, better armor, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you're in a much better position to kill people. And the thing with Tarkov, there's an open market where you trade with other players and you can always basically use money. So you can just get rich and then buy top tier armor, top tier weapons, and just go like that, right? What is a little bit different in Marathon is you level up your vendors, right? And you might unlock a new shield. So I unlocked like getting green shields. So I can buy green shields now and go in with green shields. But you also need to have materials for them. So it cost me 1,500 to buy a green shield, but I still need like 4 coils and like 3 data lattices or something. So that really limits me always going in fully geared, which gives people like Tefty opportunity to always get into fights, right? Because you're not, when you get late in the season in extraction shooters and everyone's got blue shields and everyone's got pimped out guns, all of a sudden, you can't really go in with broke boy gear and win fights. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the later part of the season, because nearly every extraction player will tell you the best time to play is on reset, when everyone's got dog shit gear, everyone's getting into fights, everyone can win interactions or have a chance of winning, and it gets really sweaty as the meta evolves late in the season.
The herd gets thinned out.
Yeah, that was exactly my point. It was like one hand you have just how Bungie chooses the balance, right? How much money are you going to get? How comfortable are you losing your gear? Because you're right, like Tarkov, you just lose something. You're like, I just got to go on a run and get like a crappy pistol. I'm broke, So one, what's their intention? But then you bring up a really good point, which is when we start feeling that power, how do they balance that out? Will be really fun to see.
Well, I think the balance is you can't just buy everything from what I've seen, and that stops people just always like, because if you could, you would always just get the highest valuable consumables or like loot, right? And just sell as much stuff as you can, and then every time you go in, you can always buy your green shields, you can buy everything you need. But I think having this, I mean, in Tarkov they added it eventually too. It's like a vendor system where not just money, but like you got to keep a lookout for certain items.
Yeah, so you have to. You're going to have to go and collect a bunch of economies in order to get to that point where every time you go in, you're kitted out. You'll have to put a lot more time than just selling stuff that you extract with. You're going to have to go and get all these things from different maps and all that to have it on hand. Right?
Yeah, and some of them on different maps too. So like for my shield, one's on Dire Marsh and one's on Perimeter. So it's like
So you can't even do one run. Yeah.
I mean,
And-
this
and just-
this sounds like exactly like Bungie doing Destiny's things. Like, here's a bunch of economies that you need to keep track of to buy things.
It's funny you say it because
True.
it's so Tarkov if you've played it, but it's so you joked about spin metal when
Destiny.
we were playing.
It's so
Yeah.
It's perfect match for them in that sense.
Yeah.
They've already
actually
sort of
is.
done this in a way.
But so I will say, playing if okay, from a Destiny perspective, if you've ever wanted your patrol space to suddenly become PvP, this
Yeah.
is, you could literally look at it like this. Like, these are giant patrol spaces with actual patrols. Like, there's, enemies that drop in and like you got to clear them out, or like there's
And it's
activities, like a
Cabal
public
again.
event. There's Cabal in there, basically. And now there's the chance of running into players, and there's a high risk, high reward type of scenario where you can't just go to orbit and leave. You have to actually extract somewhere within a time limit to get that loot out. So if you've ever wanted that in the Destiny universe, like, they made that with this game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, minus the Destiny aesthetic, obviously.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
yeah.
some of that feel for sure. I was gonna say it also like it can look a lot like Apex because of the graphic realism style, and but if
Yeah.
you've played like on is it Titan that has more of those shiny buildings in Destiny?
Is it Titanfall? Or
No. In
oh, you mean the
Destiny,
planet?
The planet.
Titan, more of the
Titan's the-
shiny.
Yeah, it's kind of tiny. Yeah.
It feels.
I think it's more Clovis. Yeah, I guess it's Golden Age.
Yeah,
Golden Age, Clovis
type of-
Gray.
Is that
Yeah.
Golden Age? Yeah.
Labs.
So it feels like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But then I also caught glimpses of Halo mixed with that. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's
Definitely.
like if you visualize Apex on top of those two things, I think you get a pretty good image.
Yeah, weapon style, from what I've seen, is definitely on that like militaristic, Apex, futuristic military type of weapons.
Yeah.
It's less space magic and more future space or military stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Teft, I joked last week you weren't here. Remember the Hawksaw, the green and blue Hawksaw from Destiny
Mhm.
1? I was like, it almost has some of that shiny blue and green
Yeah.
style. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
It's
Yeah.
Neomuna Braytech. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much that.
Yeah, I thought like I've used a good amount of guns now, and definitely the ones that you start picking up later feel a lot better too. So if you're using the AR and you're like, I don't really like the way the AR feels, the guns that you start finding feel really good. So shooting feels great, like movement feels good as well. Like the abilities feel good and they feel like they are important, but they don't feel super crazy nuts.
Abilities. This is the great thing, I think, that maybe is a point of difference with this game is other extraction shooters like Tarkov and that you get one tap, you're like, what could I have done there? Like, what could I have done different? They saw me before I saw them.
Yep.
I was dead. I feel like most of the engagements in this game, because it's a little bit longer time to kill, if I have died, I'm like, oh, I probably could have smoked then, or maybe I should have used his ability, or I did have a claymore, or maybe I could have like got away, turtled up, put a claymore somewhere, then smoked to get out. And I feel like there's been multiple, like Watson and I played a little bit before the podcast.
Yeah.
We had different classes each time and kind of had multiple plays. Like Watts went down, it's like, okay, I'm going to use my little spider one to go out, stall them. I can get the res.
Yep.
But if I was on a different class, I could have used a smoke bomb to get the res. So I feel like there seems to be a lot of opportunity to use your abilities in different ways, which you don't really get in other extraction shooters because they are military base ones.
Yeah.
You're not using any space magic to
Yeah.
do anything, right?
There's no shield.
Yeah. You bring out a massive shield to block it. You get a res. or something.
You're hitting your shield machine to suddenly give yourself full shields or something like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the classes feel cool. I mean, even Void is basically a Destiny hunter.
He
So
is.
He's got some of the.
He really
like,
is. He has like the
smoke bomb
drop down
jump as
smoke.
well.
Yes, the smoke bomb jump is literally a Destiny hunter.
Yeah. But I think Watts watched this. I was playing with Tefty. Was it Tefty and Fran when there were people inside? I smoked.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
took my
you were.
shotgun in.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was
you
in
killed the
Viz and
extraction.
Yes.
and then we killed the extraction on the way out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
was
grenaded
awesome.
somebody's extraction. That was when Taft was and Myelin. They were so bloodthirsty. But
That's
It's the
why
way
you
to
get
play,
somebody on
man.
extract.
It's the way to play.
This is
for
why
sure.
you play.
So my gut reaction to overall is obviously we've had a good time.
Yeah.
I think when games always drop and you're with friends, you can pretty often have a good time. The gunplay and all that kind of stuff is polished. I do like the aesthetics. Some people don't like it, and that's fair. Like, I think it's fair if people don't like that style. It is, at least it's unique. I actually really like it. I liked it more being in it than I did watching it.
I also, on that, I also find it kind of easy to spot people in Marathon, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not like other games where you're looking for pixels and everything's dark, you need flashlights. Like, it's visually easy to identify targets, identify robots, identify players. There's enough difference in character models to know what's going on. I think overall, if I were to be critical, I think it's a very safe entry into the extraction genre. Like, I don't, it is very similar, like, gameplay mechanics, although plays differently. It's very similar in regards to something like Tarkov, and there's aspects that are made more accessible. Like, you don't have to load every bullet into the magazine. You know, Tarkov guns have probably 20 to 50 accessories you can put onto them with stupid names because they're all real guns. AB2734. Oh, that's a really good rail. Great, put that on the M4. So there's lots of accessibility things there that get people into extraction shooters. You only got 4 slots for your mods. You don't have to load every bullet in. You've got very nice, quick access wheels for your inventory. It tells you the amount of value on stuff. So in other games, you won't get that value. You have to remember if something is worth money, right? You have to just extract with it and then go to the market and then realize there's only $10 and you should have taken something else. So it is, I think, a safe entry into extraction genre, and I think it's probably a good entry for console players. That being said, it's a double-edged sword because I think people expect more of Bungie, and I definitely expect more of Bungie to, like, redefine a genre and to give me something I didn't know I wanted to have in extraction shooters. And it hasn't done that for me. It's a good time in an extraction shooter. That's what I've had so far.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is something crazy they'd be like, oh, that is, I didn't know I wanted Destiny until I played Destiny. I had a loot and shooter with the dungeons and raids and made this community, and it was I think Destiny changed a lot of people's lives, right?
Definitely.
I don't think Marathon in its current state is changing lives. It's a safe entry into the extraction genre.
It's such a high bar, though, isn't it? Like,
It is a high
agree
bar,
with that because they've done so little in the sense of, okay, you did Marathon, Oni, Halo, and then you did Destiny, and all of them were basically about a decade apart of, oh my God, can you believe this studio is managing to do this at one time with a small team? And then 10 years ago, kind of taking a genre and turning it on the FPS style that they've built around. So, like, meaning, I'm with you. At the same time, I think in other words, you can almost sound down on it when you say it that way, Myelin.
Yes.
I think for me, I'd love that, but actually, I like extraction shooters, and so for me, DMZ was like, we just took Warzone and pasted, stuff on top of it, and then Tarkov is absolutely this insane hardcore RPG style, whatever. And I think that's awesome that they did that, but it's absolutely crazy. So to me, there's a huge a spot in the market, right, for this. So I'm not rooting for it one way or another, and I get what you're saying. I just think it's worth putting out there. Like, hard to redefine a genre, but to actually do it well, there's something to be said there. I'd love to. That's what I want to see for them. Do this really well and keep me engaged.
Yeah,
well, which remains to be seen.
Yeah,
I think. Go on, Tefty.
I was just saying, I do think that there really is a market for this, and I may not be the exact customer for it, but like, there is definitely a market, especially on consoles, for this futuristic space extractor. Like, that, 100%, I could see that. People are going to be into this type of thing.
Yeah, I think I think for me it's like, as someone who likes Bungie's PvP games, having another new dedicated PvP Bungie game already makes you go, oh. And the fact that it feels very much like a Bungie game makes you go, okay, well, this feels like a Bungie game. So I've had a lot of fun with it. I have said before that I want to see Bungie do something a little bit unique with the genre. But if they come out with an extraction shooter that has full crossplay and cross save on dedicated servers, you can play with anyone from all over the world. It feels great to do. You can build loadouts and get like a really strong character and work towards that. And there's really cool lore. Like all of the contracts have really cool lore for all of the factions. If we can get that, and then say that fourth map that comes out, the UESC Marathon, has secrets and puzzles and it's creepy and weird, and then we can do more of that, I think that would be great, where it's like they were saying like what 20% of teams survive the marathon map because it's a super hardcore map and you only want to go there when you've got like the best stuff. And that sounds kind of fun, right? To be like, guys, okay, I managed to get gold everything. I'm looted. I've been going hard. How are you doing? We get everyone in a really good like gold spot, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna go to the marathon ship and we're gonna try our best. And that sounds really fun. And we kind of had like we got to see a look of it earlier, Myelin, when we used your key with like finding. I'm also intrigued to see more of that play where you find a key for a certain area on a certain map. So you might find the key in perimeter for a place in Dire Marsh. And now you're like, okay, I got a key. Let's extract. And we're definitely just going to go focus on using this key and getting the loot from there. And then maybe you find another key and it goes to another map. And we have heard that the marathon map is like that, where you'll complete an encounter, you'll get a key to open the next encounter, you complete that encounter until you get to a big boss. And then you get like artifacts and stuff. So I'm curious about how that ends up feeling in the extraction space.
That's the
for the
thing that I
unique
think
stuff.
that's the thing that I want to see still. And I think the way it is right now is a really good foundation, but I do want to see that next level Bungie magic. And just to give an example of like, I'm surprised there's not proximity chat, because I thought that if anyone's going to somehow get players to work together in an extraction shooter, Bungie was probably the people who could do that, you know? And with these things, like if you give players this huge task of a boss, because it's sci-fi, you can make big bosses. You don't just need like little men who are bosses, right? You can go as crazy as you want, you know, like a public event, but with PvP in it. And if there was proximity chat, you can convince people to work together to take out a world boss. And then that's like something that I don't think exists at the moment in extraction shooters. There are bosses that exist, but the collaboration with something is not usually there. And I think, like what said, I want to see what Marathon looks like, the ship Marathon, and what that end game looks like, because that also exists in other extraction games.
Does,
you know, in Tarkov, it's called Labs. And they have like super geared AI. They drop better gear, and you only go in there when you're like absolutely kitted out, because everyone else is going in there kitted out. But, you know, I want to see some of those puzzles too. I think we've heard content creators talk about puzzles, but I haven't really seen puzzles yet. You know, terminal stuff like, you know, the numbers, just matching numbers, clearing the gas. So there's nothing crazy puzzle wise, and once again, that's kind of like the Bungie magic I think that I would expect that they could add to the genre. It's like solving a puzzle under pressure. That adds so much tension of like, it's like extracting, you know, everyone knows you're doing it and you're like head on a swivel waiting for it. Like there could be lots of those moments in the game as mini puzzles that you're solving whilst PvPing, whilst PvEing.
Well, what's funny though is like, I think that is the market. So that does sound interesting, and I would love to be in a situation like that where like we're worried about getting shot by the players, but also doing this puzzle and all that. But I think the majority of Destiny players, that's like a huge turnoff. You know, like the I think the main player base for Destiny has no desire to lose their loot or be shot by other players when they're solving a puzzle that's like PvE.
Yeah.
I think it's a different market. I really do.
But I mean, I don't think Destiny. I
think it's out there though. I don't mean to say like, oh, are Destiny players going to play this or not? Like, is that the main question? No, I think they really are going after a different market and keeping Destiny as Destiny, and this as its own thing that could carve out its own player base of hardcore. Hardcore people that are into this.
I mean,
futuristic extraction shooter.
I know I'm sounding harsh, but I think, at the moment it's an extraction shooter, and I would love there to be something more on that,
Yeah, but yeah, actually,
and something
to
that I don't know what that
Myelin,
is yet. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what I want yet. I want you to show me what I'm missing in the genre.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but maybe just to add some clarity to that, though, like, I mean, Bungie has said, and now testers have said, we do have a sort of fourth map, the marathon ship. It has raid-like, dungeon-like elements, is sort of the rumored, slightly talked about. So we know they want to do that. In other words, they're not going to show that to you. And secondly, is a playtest alpha. So what I'm just sort of asking you is, do you
Yeah.
feel like you're playing, this is what marathon is, or isn't it fair to say it's like, well, I mean, we know that this is just a
Yeah.
playtest alpha.
These can
Do you
just be
see
the
what I'm
noob
getting at?
levels, and this is fine. Like this is kind of what I'm saying. We've seen the foundation. I think these are like the basic levels, basic contracts, introduction to the game, and players have to spend time in the noob area learning about
Right.
everything before you progress to something that can be a little bit different.
Yeah, but just to be clear, it's like I'm not defending that you're,
Yeah.
or I'm not suggesting you're not right. You nailed it. With that, I want that stuff too, to a point of like end game content. And yeah, you nailed it with COD. When DMZ, the coolest thing was getting the black card, the red card, and you'd go into this lab, super intense. Was so cool to do. It was like trials on the weekend, and you'd go in with it, and that was the end game content. But yeah, they're not going to show us that yet. But secondly, yeah, we're all playing with like, maybe blue gear, but a lot of green gear. And in the world, they're not going to like unlock everything for us and show us all those secrets. I don't think so. Meaning, I think it's fair to like, we still got to see what they're doing. But I'm with you that we want that this isn't a
I
final
think
product
all I
yet.
can really say is like it's so hard to from an alpha to touch on so
Yeah.
many things. So it's like all I can really say is that I had fun playing the game. I think guns feel good and abilities feel good and the servers feel really good. And it's really all I can say. It's like, do I think it's going to be worth $40? Do I see myself playing ranked? Do I see myself, hopping in by myself when my friends don't want to play? Do I see myself, playing for a super long time and working towards something? I just don't know.
Mhm.
But I do really like the idea, and this is something new with Marathon. I do really like the idea of builds. And we were talking about this when we were playing with Tefty, of like, if you think of it as being like a roguelite and you get this
Yeah.
really strong build, you got this gun that you love and these attachments on it that feel great, and you've got this like core that really changes the way you play. And then if you lose that, I go, damn, I want to go get that again, or I want to get something similar. And I think looking at it like that, it gets me pretty excited about builds. But yeah, I just don't know what the future holds when it comes to
Yeah. I
Marathon.
think the roguelite thought on that
Yeah.
is really accurate for people who are not so sure about maybe the PvP side, because
Mm.
I think there's going to be a lot of people who are a little, trepidatious about jumping into something like this and whether
Yeah.
or not they're going to be into that type of thing. And if you do look at it as like this roguelite where you might lose your stuff or you might get out. And then when you do have that stuff, you can do stuff with it afterwards. And yeah, you got the factions to have like that roguelite aspect where your runs do get better because there's a meta thing that's getting worked on, expanded in your profile. That's pretty cool. I do like that. And it makes me go, that's something that would bring me back,
Yeah.
that I'd be interested in. Because it's interesting thinking about like, would a secret or raid like mechanic bring me back to the game? And I'll be honest, I don't think so.
Right.
Like, I know you guys are saying like, oh, I want this like secret thing or some sort of like, this what's the Bungie hook that's going to bring me back? And I feel like the hook is that you are in an extraction shooter. Like that's
Right. So your
the
hook
genre.
is kind of, I think, where I'm at as well, Tefty, where you're like, you start getting super powerful stuff and you see how many runs you can go on with killing like everyone that you find without losing and having to start again. Because I
That's
went on
exciting.
like 7
Get blood
runs
pumping.
without dying, and we were extracting and killing everybody and getting out of there. And I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
I love the way this gun is feeling. Oh, I got a better shield. Oh, I got a slightly better core. Let me change that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had what was it?
I
I think we had
think-
4 extractions, and then we died, and you lost a certain gun that you were really liking.
Yeah.
And it was like,
I was like,
but then
no,
it was like,
I want the gun.
we
back.
go again.
We go again. Everyone, get your broke boys. Get your broke boys. We're going.
I think what makes this an interesting conversation is Watts and Tefty haven't really jumped into extraction shooters
True.
before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
yeah.
a lot of the things you're saying is exactly what got me hooked on extraction shooters in the first place. The highs and lows of getting in, getting good gear, and then just, going on an absolute tear, with blue shields, blue guns. Like I had this AR that was just melting. I was like, oh, dude, it's got mods on it. Like I want this. Then I lost it. You're like, oh, God damn it. Now I want to try and go back and get it. I think, look, I hate always being a critical. I have had a really good time with it, and I like the game. I want to get back and play it more. I just try to play devil's advocate. Is like I've gone through this loop before, and I've experienced it, and I do generally like it. And I guess that's why I'm like trying to get to the next level. Or like I've had this experience before. I had this
Right.
experience in Tarkov. I played this 5 years ago. If this game came out 5 years ago, it would be popping off. And that's kind of why I'm sitting at a different headspace with what I want from it. But that core loop of an extraction shooter is there, which is really good, because if loot doesn't matter, you lose a lot of the tension. And from what I've seen so far, like this stuff has been impactful that I've been getting, and I can go from broke to rich in a couple runs, and that feels good too, because you don't want to be broke for too long because then you quit.
Yeah.
But you also don't want it too easy that you got too much money too. So like I actually think the balance between loot and gear is in a pretty good spot, which is quite hard to get.
Yeah, and also your point on the Tarkov side, I actually feel like a lot of that audience also isn't necessarily the audience for this game either, because
I
because
agree.
of that hardcore nature of it, like
don't
loading
think it
each
is,
bullet into your clip and all that stuff. Like what is it, like alternate? You could choose the type of bullets go into each shot or something, right?
Yeah,
Load different
like
bullets per clip.
Yeah, like
like
certain
alternate.
guns will only take certain caliber bullets, and then
Yeah,
you
that's
have
insane. It's like for
multiple
me,
types of,
I'm checking out after an hour of playing that because I'm like, I'm already with my inventory management. I do not want to manage what type of bullets are going into the clip that I'm loading my gun.
Yeah.
And if that's your style, that's great. Like that's why Tarkov is also successful. It's got the hardcore user base, So I could see how this game, it really is kind of going after this market that might not actually exist yet
Right.
in the sphere of
Yeah,
gamers,
It might.
Yeah,
It's also maybe boomers, where the people who like fast pace, kind of arcadey arena shooters. Maybe this is a game they can kind of get into because shooting and time to kill and movement kind of feels like those games you played before. But obviously it's a different mode.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting, and it's what we all do, I think, as fans of gamers, but we talk so much about like, will this thing be successful? But
Mm,
as you often hear from me, I'm so focused until a game's actually out there
mm.
of just, is this any fun? I want to play it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
really just like preview it and check it out. And then even then you preview it, and this is, my training, but it's like the game's out in September. If it has enough population, like I don't care if it's successful. Is it fun or not? And do I like the genre? And are they going to improve on it or whatever? And in other
Yeah,
words,
yeah.
I feel like it's worth pointing out. I feel like I've heard so much from the community that hasn't played about, is this game going to sell? It
Yeah.
doesn't look
That's
good enough.
true.
It's a play test.
Yeah.
And again, like I'm not rooting one way or another. I'm like, I like the genre, so let's see what they do. But um, with that out of the way, in terms of the market, I think you're absolutely right, which is, I don't know the numbers, so I'm just gonna make stuff up. But let's say Tarkov sold 5 million. Let's say Hunt sold, I don't know, 2.5 million, or achieved 2.5 million players.
Or just look at it as concurrence, daily concurrence, like
Yeah,
40,000
I don't.
concurrence, 30,000 concurrence.
Well, I think about the sold number, but either way, the point is, how much do you need to get to? What is their number when you got 300 people on the team?
Mhm.
To sell. But in other words, I do think there's a big market over several years, and that's where they're coming from. I said it last week. I think they're like, we made this game because we think the genre is interesting, and we
Yeah.
think this is fun. Like people were
Yeah.
asking them, why did you choose a niche genre?
That's
And
actually a good
I
point.
hear that. I hear this backhand from those. I mean, I'm imagining it. They're asking that because they're not satisfied with Destiny, or they never liked Destiny, and why didn't you make Halo? And now they're like, why did you choose an extraction genre? And they're just telling you like, we think it's fun. I do believe that is a big part of it, but I think they've also, like, Bungie's very careful, and certainly PlayStation at this point, but researching, genres and opportunity. And I definitely see that, like, they look at Apex and certainly Fortnite and a lot. I know that a lot of those are free, but putting that aside, like those are huge markets. And it's like, how do you bring that and unlock a new market on console, like you're saying? And
You know,
do you think
Fran,
it's absolutely their goal?
I'm gonna piggyback off of that because I would much prefer to receive a game from a developer that's making something because those devs are passionate about that thing they're making and that they think it's fun, rather than doing market research and dialing into the thing that will make them the most money. So, of course, Bungie is a huge company and they're not going to like take a chance on a whim on like some crazy thing that's going to make them no money. But if this is something that the devs wanted to make because they really loved it, and from what I know about like the initial thought of making an extraction shooter, it was made because people were like, I really like this genre, and you know, we make first person shooters, so why don't we make like our own version of that? If that's what it is, and I think that's great. And I think also what you said, all I can say is that I'm having fun right now. I think I would probably like to have a solo option. Because I ain't going in with randoms. Me and Myelin were playing. And he didn't turn off crew fill once, and I was like, never again. I'm never playing with a random ever again. Really? And then we played as a 2-man, and like we had some runs where we just really died. But then we had most of the games were really good games, and if we were taking it super seriously, we would have like killed a team and then got out and exfilled and, you know, go back in with slightly stronger loot and do it again.
How'd you play as a duo?
You can do 2.
Just no crew fill.
No crew fill.
You can turn off. Yeah.
So you're playing against teams of 3, but.
Oh, right. Yeah. In other words, I thought they're like, you know, they said there are no duos, but you can. Oh yeah, you could still load in with 2 or 1.
And honestly, like, 2v3 is like not that bad.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah. So I did a lot of. I did like my first 3-4 hours. I did solo, no crew fill, just to see what it's like. And if you're doing solo, you really can't get into fights. And I mean, I'm sure people can win. Like I downed 2 people, but I was low on shields. And, you know, even in this game, when you down them and even kill them when they're down, they can still be revived. So it's like the moment of breath that I took to like res up and like get my shields back, they were back up and I was back to fighting a team of 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
So it's very hard to solo PvP, but with the classes, you could do solo contract stuff and just be patient and be sneaky and go invisible and just collect materials. Like you could go in and do that.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be like something like Tarkov where you could go in solo and get lucky and like headshot a team of 3, right, with a pistol and then grab all their gear.
Yeah.
It's just the time to kill is too long, and you know, even with the snipers, the fact that you can res when they're like a bag on the floor, it just means.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I was surprised about that. I was like, oh.
I was surprised too.
I got thirsted and they're like, no, you can res. It's like, what? You can res?
I gotta say, I do like it because it means that if I'm down, I'm not totally down, and I can either watch my teammate. There's another thing I want to bring up in regards to that as well, but I can watch my teammate like try and make it work and bring me back. Or I'm never just like, well, crap, guess I'll just sit here and like fiddle with my phone, I guess.
Yeah, no, I like the secondary chance, but like in say like PUBG or Fortnite, you know, there's like or Warzone, there's a res machine that you have to go to,
right?
Bring it back, and then it
that
lets
might be a good
know
idea.
That you're resing.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the more.
I think it would make sense, or you would like have to go and collect an item and then bring it back to the bag to kind of like reprint them or something like that. I mean, it could work with you reprinting, right? But
it's a little weird, like you said, resing off of a bag. I was like, what?
There's another thing that I haven't brought up that I do really like is if your teammate extracts with a purple, you get that thing. So like one of my teammates extracted with a purple magazine, and I got the purple magazine. So that was really cool when we were like super down with like, there's no way he's going to be able to revive us. It's like, okay, just go for the exfil. And you're like cheering them on as even though you're dead and you're invested in it because you're like, I could get that purple magazine. It's like, just go, just run.
Is that confirmed? That's not a bug that like everyone got the purple thing?
No, you can get purples. Yeah.
I haven't seen it happen yet, but I want to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard other people talk about it. I think it's
really like
intentional
it.
to encourage you to
Intentional,
work
wow.
together, and
I really like it. If it's
get some
purple or
group
higher.
reward.
Yeah, because it's like
It's obviously not everything. There's some rules on it because I extracted with a purple weapon. It mustn't be weapons because weapons
I
get
don't
the
think it
tier
can be
list from
weapons.
mods.
Yeah, it's like mods and like materials and stuff like that. But I really like that as well because like if I go down and I'm like, there's no way you can res me, go in my bag. I have a purple clip. Grab the clip and get out, and we'll all get it. I really,
That's cool, yeah.
I do, yeah, I do really like that. It makes me root for the team,
Yeah.
even if I'm out of the picture and there's no chance.
Yeah.
Good question.
Going
Does-
back to like the
real quick,
solo duo. Go on.
actually, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. On Tarkov, how do they handle solo queue with Tarkov? Is there like a solo map?
I don't know
Well,
what they.
at the
don't
base
think
they
so.
handle it
Did
like
they add
this, where it's four player teams.
6?
Four
You have
players,
6
like,
people in Tarkov.
Some
It's a
maps.
raid
I
team,
think it was
Jesus
4.
Christ.
But
Anyway,
here's the
Goddamn.
thing. This is the
But you can
interesting thing with
solo in
players.
that.
You can friendly fire in Tarkov, so 6 people actually is a
too.
disadvantage because like you can't keep track of where everyone is.
Yeah.
And you end up shooting each other all the time, and
There's no
it's like
name
actually
above them.
there's
Yeah,
no
there's
name, there's no
armbands, but even
yeah,
that,
so it's
like,
like
it's brutal. It literally, yeah. There's so much communication demand. Again, it's like a hardcore. You're in the field in a real military situation. It's crazy. But yeah, you can just solo queue and crawl around in the grass. I was going to bring that up about extraction. Like in Tarkov, you crawl under a truck, you snuck your way around, you were as quiet as possible, and everybody else is thirsting each other, and you got out with some loot. But when you extract, there's no like, hey everybody, over here,
beam
you know?
in the air,
You
yeah.
literally just lay there and you're like, okay, just don't move. Don't
Sneak
make any
out,
noise. Yeah.
yeah. So like the solo
Yeah.
duo stuff,
Mm.
it's funny because I reckon from a viewer's perspective, watching their games that like Watts and I played as a duo, and then I played like a really good game solo, and people are like, you've just sold it. This has been the best match I've seen. And it's because you had the tension of the extraction shooter here. It wasn't just like full sand PvP.
Yeah.
It's just like watching any other Apex game, BR. It was kind of like, all right, we need to pull out, we need to come back, we need to reset, we need to get a different angle. All right, crawling around, creeping through the under tunnel parts. Like you get that really good tension. I think that would be the best, like the benefit of having a solo queue. Because if you watch someone play solo and they're just creeping around, being little rats, collecting stuff, but getting into fights that they can actually win against other solo players, like that's a really enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Whereas right now your only option is to kind of go in by yourself and just be a rat and avoid conflict, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
At
in
least
theory, if
duo
you
felt
get-
good. Because like I
Yeah.
think it's a lot more likely that I'm like I'll just play marathon when Myelin's on, and then if Myelin's
Pretty
on, maybe
much.
we can get a third, or maybe we don't. But
Yeah.
you know, at least
Yeah,
the
So
duo's
otherwise
fine.
you need that part. Like there's so many times in Tarkov which are like, I just want to chill out and like I don't want to get into fights. I want to be a rat. I want to level up my bounties. I want to go in. I want to get some money. And I feel like chilling out in an extraction shooter, even though there's a high level of
Yeah, I was
anxiety.
like, I don't know. I would never use that word personally.
Yeah, but you know, your
Yeah,
friends
but
might not be on. So
Unrelaxing
what?
time in Tarkov.
You only get on when your friends are on. I think that's a hard ask sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to
and
play with randoms.
Yeah. But yeah, you can solo in, and you're most likely against teams of 3. That's generally how Tarkov does it. I forget if they have any like 1v1 only.
They
maps.
don't. No.
But I do recall. I think Bungie had responded saying, "Yeah, like to all the above." They said,
It's on
"Look,
the
we know
board.
people like proximity chat, and we're absolutely open to that in the future. But you know, we do want a safe and contained experience or something like that." Was what they were getting
Yeah.
at. 1v1s, it was the same thing. They're like, "Yeah, like let's see how the balance goes first. You know what it's like." And I would just point that out too. Like right now, our reaction with the loot that we don't own is like, well, you can't get in and solo and get in and out. But like it remains to be seen. As this is again like you're leveling up and powering up. I don't know how far you can go in the alpha, by the way. Is there a cap? I assume
I
on
have
loot
no
and
idea.
stuff. I assume we're not getting a ton of stuff to keep it like pretty light. So like we haven't really
No.
seen what happens when somebody comes in with like all purple gear and Tef's out there and he's just been having a great time and he's thirsting the crap out of people. Sometimes he got purple, but then he went in and then he's got, green the next time, but he's having fun. But then you have somebody who's like, I have built up my armory. And that's exactly what, you tend to do in an extraction shooter. And it becomes watch out for these guys, but also watch out for that guy. I swear we did get sold the other day by, I think it was Daz, who's an Apex player. Do you guys remember that? I forget.
Apex
that was the
Pros
first-
are like running this game
Yeah.
at the moment.
We got
Yeah.
worked.
That
Yeah.
was like literally the
So-
first game, which was unfortunate because like,
Yeah,
like
that was
like,
it.
This map. What
think
am I
that-
doing this map? And also they went invisible, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. That was
So we'll see.
unfortunate, but
But yeah,
Yeah.
meaning it remains to be seen. This is a playtest, and that is I think I'm really glad Bungie did do it and rip the Band-Aid off, because as kind of Watts was getting at with her code troubles, like it's better to start getting stuff out of the way now, as painful as it is. A lot of developers, like, I guarantee you, they're not saying it. There's people all over commenting, oh, this doesn't look right. There's so much like temporary asset, I think, in place. Granted, it's 4 months away and this is quite polished, but I think they do a lot of work in those last few months.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Oh, they do a lot.
How
yeah.
it looks. Yeah,
the
we'll see
biggest part of the
polished phase.
game is like, making sure that guns feel good and abilities are balanced, and they're trying to balance like weapons and mods and grenades and cores, and like that is like a huge part, is putting all of that in the game. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
adding like different textures and changing like some balance of some stuff, and yeah, it's not the
Again,
not
I'm
the
not
big
de-
stuff that
Yeah,
people are worried about.
Yeah, my point was, I'm not defending it. Again, it can sound like it one way or another. It's like, let's just wait and see, the beta in particular, but certainly when it's out in September. It's a little early in a play test that was going to be completely closed in private. Then they said, you know what? Everybody's going to
Yeah.
leak this. It's going to be a pain. And then also, it's going to seem like we're trying to get people to hide their opinions. I think they probably battled with that. And you can sort of see, like, you know what? Let's just get it out there and let's deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think all that's been good. But the point is, it remains to be seen what actually is in the game. Maps in extraction shooters also generally is, we've seen a little of it, but this one, fewer players. This is more, this is harder. This isn't. Also, as you start to get these keys and stuff, it really starts to ramp up of like, we're going to the gas lab. We're going to do that, get all this loot, but everybody keeps showing up at the lab. Stuff like that starts to happen. So it'll be really interesting to see, once this balance starts to actually exist. I would just say it doesn't even really exist. We're kind of just monkeying with the sandbox they've given us right now.
And it's really annoying talking about any game where you have to be like, I'm not defending the studio. I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying it's going to be a big studio. I'm not saying that it's good to, but it's like, did you have fun with the game? Currently, in 10 hours, playing with friends, I had fun in the game and the shooting feels good. I cannot give you an investor's report of the next 5 years of Bungie's income and long-term gains of Marathon. I don't know. I don't even know what it's going to feel like on launch, right? Or if it's going to, because I really enjoyed X Defiant in all the betas that I played. I loved every single one, and I was like, damn, this feels great. But did I hop in when it launched? No, because there was other things going on. I didn't really feel like wanting to hop in this. So I just don't know.
Yeah.
I will
No, I
certainly,
think,
it's a Bungie shooter, and that feels good, and I want to try it when it's out, and we'll see where that goes.
I'm always just reminding of it again, because there's a lot of people that look at the playtest and say, is it worth $40? What do you think, bro? And it's like, I know this is a playtest. I'm not trying to patronize people. I think they do know, but it deserves a reminder is all I'm saying. Like, this is not the game. This is not the server. It's the start of it, and we'll sort of see where it lands.
And you need to give feedback on what you're seeing for sure. It's just
yeah.
and that's like the whole point of this is they have a whole like form for you to like fill out your feedback, and if you are in the alpha, definitely do give feedback, because that is the whole point of this. This wasn't going to be a streamable like content creator thing initially. It was to get people in and to get people's thoughts on what they have.
One thing in particular on controller, so having it always default to the icon whenever you go into the menu for digging in the bag or adjusting your loot and all that, very annoying. They need to do what PUBG does, where you automatically goes to whatever you're opening. So you can use the diagonal buttons to like start picking up stuff and swapping and all that. And then if you want to move over to your inventory or vault or whatever, then you can use the icon or the analog stick if you want. But that's a pretty big criticism on my end from how it feels from like just sorting loot on a controller.
Yeah, there's definitely some inventory management shortcuts that could be added. Like some of them are there, but even just like when you want to sell stuff to black market, you got to like hold left click. I'm like, bro, surely I can just tag all the junk that I want to sell and click one click, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's minor stuff, but when you've got a thing where your vault's constantly full, like those things do add up to be pretty annoying. And then, when you want loot, when you're looting bags, if you're having like controller issues, that's actually really important, because you need quick shortcuts. Like once you've got the knowledge of looking at a bag and knowing what you want.
Yeah, I'd say I've heard that from a number of people. It sounds like legitimately controller, pretty solid, but you're at a disadvantage because it's an extraction shooter with PC players, how fast they can get in and out of bags, etc.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
even just like change their gear, how quick with like a high DPI mouse. So I do hope they focus even more on that because that's the bridge they're trying to create.
Right.
They are, yeah.
But
Well,
like
obviously PC is not going to be connecting with console unless someone like I was on PS5 and you guys were on PC, so I was naturally in those
I don't
PC
know.
lobbies.
I don't know if
It is-
it's.
I
I
thought it
think
was
it's
just-
full crossplay.
yeah, it's you have to turn it off, Teft. It's the reverse, I think. You have to say
think
I don't
so.
want to match with PC players.
They're
and
always
take a
going to have
bit more
PC
time.
players matched up with console players.
Yeah, it's just
I
got the
think
standard
that's
toggle.
yeah. I think that's like what every multiplayer game kind of does now, unless it's like sometimes ranked. You don't have it, but if it's like just normal games, like it kind of just
Isn't that how
cross plays
Warzone
with
is?
everyone.
You have to like
Yeah.
turn off PC. You just
Yeah, I think so.
toggle no PC. But
I know in Marvel Rivals you can choose console only for quick play, but then in ranked there's no or comp there's no
ranked.
yeah,
I don't know
there's
yet,
no
right?
cross. There's no cross. They won't allow
The-
PC players to play with console players and vice versa. Like you can't invite your friend to then
Right.
play comp on the PC side of Marvel Rivals. They don't allow that. They
Well,
want
that's
the
been
so they
a
may
big
have-
discussion recently, like on social media with Marathon, is like balancing controller versus M&K. Because they definitely want everyone to play together.
Yeah, but just to finish that point. So yeah, ranked, we'll see what they do, and there is a toggle currently.
Yeah.
But to finish what I was getting at, like PlayStation controller seems like a good opportunity. For example, I was like, oh, if you could use that touchpad, even to like just quickly hover to what you want and then use the buttons, stuff like that. Yeah, and also I was talking to a friend and they were like, I just want menu DPI for my controller. That like, dude, I can go faster. You just
That'd
won't
be
let
nice.
me.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would
Yeah.
be, I think, top
Yeah.
things for them to focus on because people who've not even played extraction shooters are already feeling like I just can't get through this bag, and you're like, I don't even know what stuff is, and like everything feels like tough. So that would be a big point of
think-
improvement for sure.
A big like question I've seen on chat as well is like I guess there's a question about end game and like what's the point? And I guess there's a couple things here. I mean, firstly, like PvP games, like the end game is just enjoying playing the game.
Getting better and donging on dudes.
Yeah, and having an experience, and that's kind of what the alpha is. So we haven't really seen, and obviously, like them talking about like an end game map is, you know, their version of a dungeon, of a raid. You know, this is the aspirational content that you're working towards, and you know you're gonna have to level up your contracts and to get the gear to get there. So that's like your, you know, a goal. But one of the big unknowns is we haven't seen what the cosmetics are going to look like, and typically that's a big part of any PvP game is to grind something out to get something shiny to show everyone else that you were there during season 1 and you got max rank. And I don't know if there's been any commentary on like, is there going to be a battle pass, something that we grind out to, you know, unlock a trinket on the gun, unlock a color palette, unlock something to showcase your skills as a player.
I believe
We do know.
check.
Yeah, we do know that there's going to be cosmetics that you get and also like customization for your, you know, your profile and like your tag and all that stuff that you're going to be able to earn that stuff in game. So, of course we know that there's going to be paid skins. It's just about will we be able to earn like cool stuff through gameplay. Like if you have like a really dope skin that I could get for glitch for like completing the marathon map and like getting that artifact or reaching something in a season, that definitely makes me want to work towards that because you get to keep that stuff forever. Like all of the stuff that you earn, you get to keep. So
yeah,
and like if they did that, then you want to do it on each character, right? Like, oh, cool. If I complete marathon map and kill this boss with a glitch, I get the glitch skin. If I do it with, you know, Blackbird, then I get the, you know, giving something to chase is going to be important, and making sure that they're not all paid microtransactions is going to be equally important.
Especially for a paid game, right? Like if this was a free-to-play game, I would expect the like super egregious MTX, but it does get into murky waters when it's a $40 game. I think you have to be much more respectful with
you have to give those aspirational things.
Yeah.
And they have to be different from the paid stuff. Like you have to be able to look at a player and be like, oh my god, they've got
I
this, that, the other
yeah, I wonder
from
how
playing
they're
the game.
separating that though of like the actual when you earn stuff and upgrade to say purple gear, you do start to see it, I think, in the way the gun looks with the mods, and I haven't really unpacked how they're
Oh yeah, the
if you
gun
do see
definitely
any of that.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you can just put a skin on it, kind of ruins that for the gun. So I'm wondering how that's going to work. It's one
Yeah,
thing to say
I don't
like, well,
know.
your actual physical, your 3D printed body skin maybe. So I don't know like where they're drawing that line, but it will have a battle pass. There was some hands-on, and folks were already reporting that as part of it. So that plus we know there's going to be some kind of shop. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I would just quickly respond to that's a great note on the end game. But to me, the end game is it's an extraction game, and I do think like we'll see how it balances out. But the whole point is again, you go in and you're like, oh dang, they got purple shields, and it's actually we can see it in the game in a way when you go shoot a robot, and you know their shields like go purple, and
Yeah.
you're like, ah crap.
You can even ping
It's
when you ping anything. It shows you what shield they have.
oh nice,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
like stuff like
How
that
many shields?
becomes so desirable, and you're like, I have to grind out this faction. They got purple shields. I gotta have purple shields, and like that is the end game, and the season resets, and everybody goes back to zero.
Yeah.
So
It's a very
usually
different
that's it.
it's a very different dopamine hit, like end game, I think, because
Yeah.
I think it's about like having an experience and then like now like after that, I'm like, man, what tonight? We had some freaking cool
They were
games.
some
I've been
really
thinking
fun
about like
games.
there were
Yeah.
some really cool plays and some cool games. We used our abilities well, we played well, we still lost, And if we got out, it would have been another story. And I think it is hard to explain that enjoyment to an audience and how that made you feel, because it is really an experience, and it's an experiences of highs and massive lows. And that's what an extraction game needs to do. It needs to give you the high highs and the low lows for
Yeah.
it to feel fun.
You know,
That's how.
And
That's your own
sometimes it's hard
story
to
being
capture
told
that
in
if you're
way.
just watching someone. It is hard
Mhm.
to feel that tension sometimes. So yeah.
I would actually okay, this is off the top of my head, but to really go out there as a comparison and analogy, like if you think of what Balatro is, which is a roguelite poker, it's the hand that you play. So imagine doing that in a PvP environment where you're building these decks, and the hand that you play becomes stronger, and you get addicted to building that deck. I mean, feels
Yeah.
like that's kind of a core of what extraction shooters usually are, and this game has the DNA of. So I don't know. Again, that's what I think you could have here, and that's what you become addicted to, and getting all these things done.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the footage, people see Apex, frankly, and I've heard
Yeah.
people say like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's going to be a team deathmatch." I'm like, you're watching, and you're not experiencing that other side of it. Like, try going in with a weak hand. I don't know if it will balance that way, but that's what I'm saying. That's when it becomes real
Yeah.
fun. So
Maybe we should
we'll see.
do some
Well,
more duos, Myelin, and then we can show show what that can kind of look like to people.
Well, I think so. Like, I think even though we won other games in a trio, I don't think it showcased the game in its best state. Because I think from a viewer perspective, it just looks like Apex. I think when we went in with dog shit gear, in duos, down on our luck, you approach every building, every situation, like you scout stuff out, you ping them. Multiple times we saw players fighting robots, like, let's reposition before we engage. Whereas if
Yeah.
we were in trio, we probably would have just hold W and get one pick, right? And then
Yeah.
you're at an advantage, and then you just hunt down the last players, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe the last thing I know we're probably touching on other games this show too.
Oh
So I
yeah, we
want to
got
at least
lots of
get in
games.
as
Yeah.
well, real fast. I keep bringing up the RPG nature, but we haven't actually mentioned it much. But there's a number of stats, and I remember when Teft
Yeah.
came in, he was like,
Yes.
"Dude,
Yep.
this overheat, man, which is your stamina, effectively, is like, ugh, that feels bad, man." And he's right. And
Specifically on the Titan character, because when I
yeah, I
switched
didn't
to
even
Glitch,
play that one.
yeah, Glitch felt a lot better. Yeah,
I
Titan
played
character, I was like, I'm constantly like
yeah.
running out of my freaking overheat or whatever.
Right, but
Can't
I play
run.
Blackbird, which is pretty bad actually. It builds up. However,
Yeah.
again, we're talking about like uncommon level, not deluxe superior level. And again,
Right.
that's where it becomes really interesting. So if you look at the stats, this is what you're doing. You're like, I already saw a mob that will cut that build up in half for my character.
Yeah.
But that was like a low level. So you have agility, you have time it takes to heal, stim,
Yeah.
the time it takes to loot and open the bag, time it takes to res probably. So you get into all of this stat building by grinding your character up. So again, I'm assuming, because that's what these games are, that is what I always see is so fun in these. I think it's misunderstood when you just watch some footage because people are like, I don't know, man. They just went in there and they killed each other. It looks kind of like Apex, and I killed some bots and extracted. Like, yeah, on paper, it looks like that's what's happening, but that's the big difference here. And I think
We
that's
are
what they're
also
going for.
missing, like, you have to think that we already know for a fact that we're missing, like, random events that happen. We're missing a bunch of status
Oh.
effects that the map can do to you.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
there's could very well be a thing of, like, you know, you're going into a map and you're like, this map has, like, pretty high likelihood of having this event, and that makes you take, I don't know, poison damage or something. You're like, I want to get a kit ready for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned on top of it, you have your consumables, which there is, you know, a quick radial dial, and it's like you got to get used to that. But you're literally, you're like, we're going into the fight, and you get a stim that lasts 30 seconds. That's just for one of the buffs.
The
Yeah,
the
you on the
consumables are
map,
crazy good.
yeah, on the map, I
Yeah, I
got
should use them.
EMP'd by like a, you know, a lightning thing the first time. I was like, oh crap, it really effed me up. So all my super cooldowns and everything were like 4 or 5 minutes longer. It effed me up, but
Wow,
it's on
interesting.
I got EMP'd, but you can just take a stim if you brought it. And that was a low level one that can heal. There's high level. So there's so many like layers of this stat building that again, I don't think we've seen, at least I'm only 24 hours in. So I think that's where it could be super addictive and fun. And that's what
Yeah.
it's supposed to be for an extraction shooter. And not,
Yeah,
oh, it just looks like Apex. It's not hopefully just that.
that's the
Real quick
bit I want to
question.
like look at a bit more because like I saw some mods for ping. I'm like, oh, that seems. Who would want to
Oh.
ping longer? Who cares? Then I was like, oh, Blackbird pings people. Like
Yeah.
that's going to
Mhm.
stack
How long
really
it
well
stays
with
up.
Blackbird.
Yeah, right.
If I can get multiple mods that increase my ping duration, like they're going to be on the map for longer. That's a huge advantage.
That is, yeah.
And like the combining those things together with the consumables, because like one of the consumables was cardio kick and it reduces your heat cooldown like dramatically. I was like, I want to
Nice.
see what this is like. I could like sprint across the map. I'm like, oh, okay. Like these are like really powerful for only 30 seconds and I haven't really been using them,
Yeah.
you know. And then the ailments or whatever, like toxic and EMP and like
Yeah.
those things, if you don't have those to combat them, like you can get really stuck out. Like I was hitting people
Yeah.
with the toxic nades, and if they don't have the thing to counteract it, like it just ticks away their health.
It eats their
Yeah.
health. It goes through shield, so it doesn't
Overheats
even
them,
matter.
all
Doesn't
this.
even matter if they have a
Yeah.
good shield because it will kill their health.
I do think that is probably the most point of difference with this as an extraction game is the stat building with the classes, with the consumables,
With making builds.
with
And
making a build. That
Yeah,
is the standout difference at the moment with
It's a
Marathon
question.
compared to something else.
Yeah, question. On Tarkov, is there factions on Tarkov? And like
Yeah.
assignments
Yeah.
that you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're all
And do those-
storylines kind of like the same thing.
Their storylines, do they unlock things that you can do in the black
yeah.
market then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
so it's exactly the
is
same, yeah.
that okay. Does it reset after each season? Does all your
You gotta
faction stuff
build
reset?
everything back
and like
up.
in
I don't know what
Marathon,
it's like
that's
now, but
they're
I
going to be
assume.
using those faction contracts and resets to tell the story of each faction throughout the world because they're trying to, you know, each faction has like a thing they're trying to do, you know, like one of them wants you to investigate how colonies were surviving out there and you want to look at their food and and all of that stuff, and then another one just wants you to like really investigate UEAC. And so they're trying to, with the resets, with the contracts, with the factions for Marathon, they want to like use those to progress the story of the factions in the world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the factions resetting and having to go through and do all those again.
Well, they are going to
No.
get different permanent upgrades as well each season.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of the thing of
Oh.
like they can put something nutty
Kind of like
in
your
a
artifact or something.
yeah, they could put something nutty in a faction upgrade and be like,
Mhm.
well, it's going to be gone next season. So
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
again,
well,
it's,
it's kind of like when you go through the extraction cycle, most people say the beginning of a wipe is the best time because people aren't super geared, aren't super meted. You actually have like good fights and that kind of stuff. And I think that's Bungie realizes that and is trying to put everyone on a base level again to
Makes sense.
level up.
yeah, you have to experience it. Again, it's actually, yeah, it's not far from the playing cards thing. Imagine like you started at, it's like a casino RPG. You started at the crappy tables, and literally by the end of the season, you're so often in those high roller tables. because you've built up, and you have to experience
Yeah.
that. It becomes like, I mean, man, I'm always balling. But when they reset you, yeah, it's kind of painful, and that does separate those who are like, I don't think I can grind this out again. But there does become a problem. In other words, like it just is. Maybe it turns into this all everybody's
Snowballs
using
the
toxins and EMPs,
Yep.
and it's just brutal out there. And they reset. It's like, oh, I'll hop in again because
Yeah.
you have a chance again.
true definition of power creep in it. So you got to
Yeah,
reset it.
yeah, it's an intentional power creep. Actually,
Mhm.
is maybe an interesting way to look at it.
And
So,
I do think that the classes and the builds really are more impactful than maybe people can tell in the alpha, because there are character specific cores that you can get. So if you're like a Blackbird main and then you get
Yeah.
a really good core for Glitch, that makes you then want to build out a build for Glitch. And then maybe you're playing Glitch and you're like, oh my God, I've got all this like crazy loot and I'm set up to be a super strong Glitch. But you want to go back to Blackbird. So then you finally get that stuff that's super good for Blackbird and you're like, nice, now I can like build out my main and play my main.
yeah, who has the
Cool.
double jump? Is that Glitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's like a very simple way to put it. If you haven't kept up with all the details, is like you will get a triple jump, I believe, right? As a
Yeah, you can
mod.
get a triple
But
jump. Yeah.
that is on you. You have to have one. When you die, it's gone. So you have to
Yep.
either be able to buy it or have enough sitting in your thing to be that powerful. So you get used to being that powerful. And again, that's the whole point of this, is once you have that, you can't go back.
Well,
It's hard to go
that's the
back to the
roguelike
brain
thing,
stuff.
you know, and I really like that about roguelikes. I like being weak and then getting super strong and then trying a different build based on what RNG gives me.
Yeah.
I like that. Before we move on, just hot off the presses, as of 44 minutes ago,
Marathon's been
Marathon
canceled.
is putting out some changes via server settings, so you don't need to download anything. But the first thing that they're changing is the experience of weapon hit registration in very high latency situations. And then so
That's me.
that's Mylin's thing.
That's me.
There you go.
That's what was happening to me. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Cool.
so hopefully you don't run into that again. And the other thing is another thing you brought up, Myelin, actually. The second change lowers the amount of health players revive with after being fully killed from 100% to 30%.
I was gonna say that
They're already
because
balancing.
when you get
Yeah.
downed and then res, you
Mhm.
have low health. But if you get fully downed and res, you have full health. And I was like,
Oh, do you?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like,
I-
this doesn't make any sense.
It's
So they
always
can
been
just
too
challenge right
intense.
away.
yeah.
Because does it even take? It doesn't feel like it takes any longer with the
It
bag.
doesn't
Does it actually
take very
longer?
long. I think
It's
it
longer.
takes longer, but
It's
it's
longer.
not very long.
I thought it felt twice long, but I haven't done the math.
Yeah. That's why
Either
I was
way,
like,
you
this
need.
bag res is just, it makes no sense.
Yeah,
So there you
that's-
go.
I
If
mean,
you
there
do it,
go,
they're
though.
going to have 30% health, so they can't just like get up and run at you together and challenge,
Yeah,
which is
it's
great.
They
already
make-
balancing in a
That'll help
playtest, so
solos
that's
too.
great.
When
They
you're
need
in
to
a
make the
solo
respawn
versus
stations.
3 thing. Yeah. So we'll obviously this alpha lasts for 2 weeks. They're already teasing an open beta that's going to happen. So if you are interested in the game at all, you're like, I like Bungie games, I want to try it out. There will be an open beta. So keep an eye on that. Give it a try. See what you think.
Highly
Play
encourage people to
games
test it out
when they're
if
free.
you are interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you're
and-
interested in this PvP game at all,
it
highly
a try.
encouraged to try it out, the beta for sure.
Because I'm not
I
an
mean, I think you've
extraction
gotta.
player, and I have had a good time so far with Marathon. So
Mhm.
I'm
Same.
surprised with, to be honest, I think, and maybe this is the audience. Like, I'm surprised that you had a good time, because
Yeah.
this has not really been the games you like,
mhm.
and you've definitely even gone away from PvP games. And Tefty, this was your first extraction shooter, so I think that's kind of like the market.
use
Really,
cases.
I don't know
Listen,
if it's the
it feels
hardcore-
good going in as a bunch of broke boys, a gaggle of broke boys, and running up on a team and grabbing their blue gun and their shield and
Mhm.
being like,
That's
yeah,
fun,
baby.
right?
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And
it's,
even if you lose
fun.
the fight, you can still be like, oh, I see what happened there. Like they had the jump right here. That was okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You jump back in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I said it last week. Bet is not a game that's just going to be like a Concord. Everybody was trying to paint it as that. Like, and now that I've played it, that was the easiest thing I think, or the simplest thing I could say about it. This is not an unclear or shaky effort. It was easy to look at.
Right.
I don't know, what are they doing? And it's Concord. It is
Yeah.
night and day. Now, whether or not people like this, we'll see. But this is a pretty highly detailed and solid effort so far on dedicated servers, etc. So I'm looking forward to seeing more.
And we got 2 weeks to play it, so we'll see how we feel at the end of 2 weeks as well. See how it feels. I got to talk about a game, guys. I got to talk about it. Grab your pants. Hold on to your pants. This is Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Currently one of the highest rated games of the year. Everyone who I know who has played it is like, this is easily my game of the year. One of my favorite game experiences I've had in a very long time. And this is from a team of 30 people from France, their first ever game. And
Wow.
I am, let me double check how many hours I'm in. I am 7 hours in, a little over 7 hours. And this game, in the first hour, you are like, this is something special. It is phenomenal. Like the game, so I'll explain what the game is first. The game is...
It's like a story game? What are we talking about here?
So
It's a puzzle game.
The best way I can describe it is it is a love letter to the like 90s JRPGs made by a French studio, and it's very French. A French studio who super understands that type of game. Like you can just tell. And I kind of guessed that this game was going to be something special when they interviewed the developers, because the way that they were explaining things and showing things, I was like, these guys just get this genre that they're making. So it is, if you think of what a JRPG is, that will give you a good idea. However, the combat, I don't want to play another turn-based game unless it has this combat in it. I hope more games take on this combat. So you have the whole turn-based stuff that you're used to. You know, you get a skill and you choose which skills you're going to use or whether you're going to attack. That's all fairly standard. But when you use skills, there are quick time events to hit skills perfectly. So there's like just when you see a quick time event of something, you know, going in a circle, you got to hit it in the right spot. If you hit it in the perfect spot, that will do more damage. It's very Final Fantasy VIII using Squall when he does his limit break and you got to hit it at the right time to do more damage. So you have that, but also you don't just have a chance of dodging or a chance of parrying and you're like, God freaking damn it. Why didn't they dodge? Why didn't they parry? You parry and you dodge. So this game is like putting a JRPG with Sekiro together.
Right.
It's like putting those two things together. And
are there limits on like how many times you can dodge and parry, or is it just like get good, you can do it?
Nope. If you are good at doing that, you can just never take a hit from an enemy.
I was like, then how do you get hit? Okay, you can just not be hit.
It's freaking hard. It's freaking hard.
It's hard. Okay.
Have you played Sekiro?
I'm playing on, so the different difficulties do dictate the level of that. If you play on story mode, you don't have to deal with any quick time like manual stuff at all.
Okay.
If you play on the normal mode, it's like if you do that stuff, you'll have a better time, but it's not required. But if you play on expert, it is required. And I'm only 7 hours in, and I've been in multiple fights where if I do not parry or dodge, I get one shot. So I have to play perfectly or I'm dead. So that combat, it's so good because you get all the like strategy of a turn-based game. But when it's not your turn, you're locked in and you're like fully in there and you're really having to pay attention. And my hands have not sweated this much in so long. I'm like, really, it's really an incredible combat system. Yeah, it's really good. And the combat in terms of skills that you get and the way that you can upgrade your characters are super deep. Like you can really build out these characters to flesh them out in a really cool way. So that is super intriguing as well. And like the voice cast, you've got Ben Starr, you've got Jennifer English, you've got freaking Daredevil. Daredevil's in this from the Daredevil show. He's a voice actor. Like the voice cast is insane and the music is absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, within the first hour of playing the game, the prologue of that game, I cried at the prologue. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to cry, right? I've known these characters for 2 minutes. And
the prologue.
Yeah, they did such an incredible job of like the way their cutscenes are animated. All the characters have such like intricate movements of their eyes and their hands, and the way that the characters look around or like slowly try to comfort each other. And there's a scene where you can see the character slowly get more fearful of what they're about to experience, and mixing that with like an incredible soundtrack and really implementing it in a super smart way. It just makes you feel so connected and emotional about everything. It's on Metacritic.
Good.
It's on Metacritic Must Play, and I gotta say, it's you. I think you should play it. It's on Game Pass day one.
Oh,
It's
on
right
Game Pass?
there.
Okay, great.
If you want to play it
Yeah,
on
Game
Steam,
Pass.
guess what? It's not even a full price title. It is $53.99 for the deluxe edition.
Hey, should we?
So full price of the game is $50.
this is a
It's
super
currently
fast
$45.
question.
Yeah.
Should we start calling them regular priced games and then overpriced games? So like
Maybe.
$70 games are overpriced
Premium
games. And
price.
then... All right, sorry.
Oh, there's also an
Jumbo.
overworld, which if you're a JRPG fan, having an overworld where, you know, the characters are small and you're like flying around on a ship or
Love
like
that.
walking around, like it's a big thing. It feels like these people, but they were part of Ubisoft. This is a people who are working at Ubisoft in France. They left Ubisoft to make a small team to just make a game that they're super passionate about and want to make it and they love. And it's
Really cool.
phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. Oh my God.
So happy to hear that. Yeah, I remember us talking about it when they revealed it, and I was like, "This looks really good."
Mhm.
So awesome to hear that. I hadn't heard you say that thing about Sekiro as well, so
Yeah, dude.
it sounds
it's-
like I'm gonna love it.
I'm paying. I like looked at chat because, you know, when you're playing turn-based games, you're so used to being able to look at chat when it's not your turn, and I'm like, crap, I'm dead. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's and exploring is like you get rewarded heavily for exploring. There's lots to find, and it's not a like 80-hour main story game. The main story is about 30 hours, and then you can obviously explore and add more on top of that. So it's so good, man.
I'm
So good.
excited to check it out eventually.
Sounds very interesting.
Go check it out.
It's
I didn't
so
realize
good.
it was turn-based, but sounds like they made some good changes or like some
Mhm.
unique aspects to it.
Yeah, I gotta say,
Um,
like, Myelin, if you like, I think even if you don't like turn-based games, I think that this game will make you really enjoy the combat, and because you get to enjoy
Yeah,
the
it sounds like it.
complexities without
Yeah.
being like, God damn it, why didn't my character dodge? You know?
Tell me this:
Mhm.
if I lose a character, are they dead? Because I like that too.
No,
Okay.
no, you have revive stuff.
Got
Oh,
it.
also, yeah, and the art is absolutely insane. Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
My God.
That seems
I've taken,
awesome.
I don't know how many screenshots I've taken in my 7 hours, but let me tell you, it's a lot. And it's just me walking around. Just me walking around the area. I have so
I'm
many
gonna check
screenshots.
it out. It's on Game Pass. Might as well.
It's on
Yeah.
Game Pass. Give it a
Oh,
try.
You know what
Or
else is
buy
on
it,
Game Pass? I
because
play
it sounds awesome.
Mm.
Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever they call it.
Remaster, but not a remaster, because what the hell?
I never played Oblivion, and I understand. I played Starfield, and I was like, "What is this dog shit?" And then I played Oblivion. I was like, "I get the Bethesda magic, the Bethesda jank. I understand what people wanted from future games from Bethesda. I can't even kind of tell you what makes it so good and why it's acceptable in Oblivion and not in other games where it's janky, but it does have a charm to it. It's got a Bethesda charm, and jank and stuff is pretty goddamn goofy, but I played it for like 10 hours straight on stream. And in the starting era, I was like, you know what? I got to go back to jail cell because this guy said he's gonna get out and he's gonna find my wife. And I'm not having that. So I went back to the starting cell, trying to find him. Like
I'm
doing
laughing.
silly stuff, trying to steal from people, trying to break into everyone's shop and just being absolute goblin. I think I spent 10 hours. I haven't done the first mission yet.
You died
And
a
I think-
lot too in the beginning. When I was
Yeah.
watching, he was
I
getting
was arrested a lot.
murdered
Yeah.
over and over again.
Murdered. And just seeing how far I could push it and, just actually just enjoying the world. And I usually don't super like those games unless it's done really well. And yeah, I can see why this was a classic for people. Really fun on Game Pass.
On Game Pass again, and South of Midnight
Like-
is on Game Pass, which I finished.
Some
Like
of the games.
Game Pass
Oh,
and Doom is
nice.
coming out. So if you
Yep.
are thinking of getting Game Pass, now is a very
true.
good time.
True.
Crazy
Very
value.
good.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing value. Yeah, I was joking about buy it, but like in the sense of like studios like this, I'm so happy to hear what I'm hearing at small studio and like Game Pass and all is all still in question. So if you can afford to buy it and have that type of money, like just buy these games, you know. But otherwise, yeah, Game Pass is pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got a
think-
code from the developer, but today I upgraded to the deluxe edition. So
Nice.
Nice.
I think what was interesting with like Oblivion is you realize that like open world rule where it's like players want to only go like 60 seconds before like discovering something else. And it just really has that nailed, you know, like I walk out of the town, I see an orc that has a horse shop and she's like, we don't sell them because we're all out. And I was like, what are the options? Like, give me one anyway or I'll stab you. And she goes, okay, drive a hard bargain. And I just walked away with a horse. Like, do you know? I was like, I got rewarded for being a goblin, yes. And then 20 seconds later, I find a guy that's like, bro, I'm almost about to be retired, but a fish got my leg. I need more fish. I'm like, oh well, guess I'm fishing now. You know? Then I find a cave. Like it does have that. It's got fast travel, but you actually want to ride your horse between places because you will stumble upon a dungeon, a side quest, a person, a horse, a weapon, a goblin, you know, and I think maybe that was what was missing for me in Starfield. It just didn't have that exploration and density to the open world.
Awesome. Yeah, that one was huge. It's crazy. I mean, it's lining up to be a lot of really good stuff this year. Yeah, I know. We have more people wanted to mention still. I wanted to touch on FBC Firebreak real fast.
Yeah.
But also I have to eat and get back to Marathon 2 tonight. I just FYI. So whenever that
he's
time
already
is right.
panicking.
Well, you know, I'm hungry too. But
He's got contracts he needs to complete.
He's
Let
got
me know what I
contracts. He
mentioned.
needs to go in solo. He's going void. All those gunshots better go the other way.
yeah. But I don't want to
We're
interrupt
just
the
kidding,
flow,
Fran. We
so
love you. No, go ahead.
Let
Please
me know when I Firebreak?
Yeah, hit it.
Cool.
Hit it.
FBC Firebreak is right, the Federal Bureau of Control stuff. I've been mentioning it, and they had another announcement today. So we know it comes out June 17th now. Again, this is a 3-player co-op PvE. You know, from Remedy in the world of Control. It looks like a lot of fun. So they showed some more gameplay today. It'll be $40. Deluxe version comes with like skins and, you know, sprays and voice packs and things like that for $50, I believe. And then all the content that comes after release that's playable is free. So they're going to have updates into 2026. So yeah, just looking forward to it. But we've been wondering forever. It was like summer, you know, and now we know it is June 17th, which I think a week later is, you know, Death Stranding, and there's other stuff in there between Switch
God,
2 and that. But looking forward to this one.
Cool.
Very good.
I played, if you want to quickly mention, I played the RuneScape Shadow Drop they did of the Dragons Wild. Is Dragons Wild?
Dragon Wild. Yeah, something.
Which is a survival crafting game set in RuneScape land. I never played RuneScape as a kid, so I don't know how accurate it is to the RuneScape lore and that kind of thing. But it's hard to tell with survival crafting because like how many hours do you have to put in before you start seeing like any point of difference? Like, you know, it's very typical. Okay, I'm gonna upgrade my pickaxes and my axes and like go to different biomes and like, so it has everything you would expect of a survival crafting game. The main point of difference early games, I think I've only got maybe 10 hours in it, is the use of magic, and you can use magic to like farm and stuff like that. So rather than having to hit down a tree, you can like summon an axe or like chops it down in one shot. And then rather than like sitting on a mining ore, you can summon, you know, this thing to explode it. And you can also like summon destructive like golems and things like, you know, friendlies to help you out, or you can shoot fireballs and that kind of stuff too. So the magic's probably like the point of difference for the game. It has similar mechanics to like Valheim, where your base would get raided. Gets raided by a dragon that just like has these AoE effects. You get raided by orcs and goblins and stuff like that you got to watch out for. But everything else is pretty like similar for a survival crafting game. There's dungeons that you go in and explore, and there's puzzles and stuff like that. But I did have a really good time. I think I want to spend more time in it to see, like, is there an end game? Is there something else that adds to it? And apparently there are dungeons, and I guess you have this looming dragon that you're trying to work towards as an end goal boss. I think it's hard to recommend for the price. I think it's like $50 or $40 when, Valheim and Enshrouded is in a pretty good spot now as well. I think you get quite good value from those games at the moment. So had a good time, but cautiously recommending if you already have Enshrouded, already have Valheim. I don't know if you're going to get a much different experience yet.
Let's check it out.
I also played Blueprints real quick.
Blueprints is the other 92 Metacritic score game this year.
Yes, it's like a roguelite mixed with a puzzle game and a pretty decent story. Basically, you have like a grid, but it's like 5x9. So imagine like squares 5x9. And at the very end, have this vague room that you have to get to. And you've inherited this castle, essentially, this mansion, and it's a changing mansion, and every room changes every day. And so every square is randomized, can be a random room. And that's the roguelite aspect. Like the rooms change, they have different puzzles in them, they have different abilities you can get from them, and you get like options and upgrades to try to make your way through this puzzle rooms, essentially. But it is enjoyable. You can really get out of luck if you get like a certain combination of rooms. You can just get like dead ends basically, and then not have enough keys to get through. But that's the whole point. Then you end your run. Hopefully you've got like a permanent upgrade to help you get more options, just like a roguelite to get through it. And it's kind of got this storytelling in the background as you do it. A lot of people have really enjoyed it. I don't know the price. I can't remember where you can get it and if it costs money. I think it costs money.
Yeah,
enjoyable.
I think so. Cool. No, everyone who's played it.
$30 on Steam.
There you go, $30. $30, and that's a solo dev. So the two top games of the year are from small team or solo dev. So.
Dogu Bomb.
Impressive.
Looks like.
Yeah.
We'll do some very quick Twitter questions. Very important one for you, Fran, from Kyle Flint. Did Fran ever get his Switch 2?
Yeah, we were doing it live while we were playing Marathon. I had the pages open, and I was just like, I actually stepped out of the run, but I was like, oh my God. Anyway, yes, finally like logged me out of Best Buy. It just seemed like it wasn't working. Meanwhile, in line at Walmart, digitally, online, Target was crashing. All the above, right? App. I had an app, a phone open, propped up off to the left. Finally, I went back to running in Marathon. Anyway, somehow I just was like, you know what? Let me log back into Best Buy. I had given up at this point, actually. I didn't tell you guys that when we were playing. And it just was like, let me add it to my cart on Best Buy. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then I woke up today and I was like, oh my God, I forgot to order the Pro controller as well. I always like getting a new controller, feeling the new Rumble in particular. You can use the old Pro controller. So I was like, crap, it was sold out on Target or something. And then I found it at Best Buy too. I was like, all right.
Best Buy.
That is exactly what
Sponsored
happened.
by Best Buy.
Hey, that's what happened to me with Best Buy and my 5080. Like, it wasn't working. I was like, crap, there's freaking nothing here. And then it was like, oh, it's in your cart. There you go. Have a good day.
So June 4th or 5th, whenever I get my hands on it, I'm looking forward to, honestly, Tears of the Kingdom above all. Yeah, new Rumble, HD upgrade, 60 frames. Dude, I just couldn't keep playing Tears of the Kingdom. It seemed fantastic, but it had slowdown in frame rate that I was like, I have a ton of games to play. So anyway, exciting.
Did they confirm which game's going to be 120 FPS?
Like Metroid Prime is. It depends on the mode. It's like 1080p 120. I forget if it does 1440 120 on that. I think maybe
120 FPS handheld is going to be
it's gonna be sick for some stuff. So
yeah,
that was the only one I know off the top of my head. So Metroid alone though, that's just gonna be pretty sick.
Cool. And then one final question, because he asked us for the 420 episode, and he asked again. So this is from Destroyer6665. What is your favorite snack to have while partaking? This is a fast rapid fire. Partaking. Yeah, so this is weed, Myelin, but if you're drunk, you get high. I mean, come on, be honest. What's your favorite snack whilst partaking?
Oh,
Rapid
okay, I
fire.
get it.
Snack.
Snack.
First thing that comes to mind is like flaming hot Cheetos. It's probably
Yeah, I was
not,
gonna
but
say it's
that's
probably
what
Doritos
popped into
stuff.
my head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a Dorito chip type of thing.
Yeah.
because it's got to be low effort. It has to be low.
Oh, it's got to
effort.
be low effort. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, everything. Anything that is like a chip, a cookie, a chocolate, a salty thing, a sweet thing, whatever it is, I'm grabbing it and I'm gonna eat it. Cheese, if got cheese cubes, I leave cheese cube. You know, whatever it is, go crazy.
I guess you could order
Jeez.
takeaway though. That
You
would
could.
be another.
Oh,
Does that
yeah.
count as a snack though? I feel like snack is
That's probably not a
self-made.
snack.
No, because I was gonna say pizza otherwise, probably, but like that's not really.
It's not a snack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
It's mostly chips, I think. Probably some kind of chip.
chip based. Yeah.
Maybe a dip if you can do a dip.
a chip and dip.
If you can have.
Oh, a
Oh,
chip and
hummus
dip.
and pita. Maybe baba
Delicious.
ganoush and pita.
What is your favorite way to partake?
I mean, I usually drink alcohol, so out of a glass.
No weed for Fran. Yeah, that figures. Honestly, Fran, maybe
But then
we should get you on weed. You know, I bet weed would be
I
great
guarantee
for
you.
Fran.
Yeah, the
It
frantic.
would be a good
Let's bring
idea.
that down a few.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the booze works pretty well.
You're like,
but,
Fran
I
all of a
probably- I-
sudden is like, gunshots? Let's freaking get him, boys.
Whatever,
We're
man.
gonna
Menus? Vault full. I don't
Vault,
know,
I'll just
man.
delete it, bro. I don't need it.
I love free to play games. I'm chilling, dude.
And do you have a favorite story for whilst you were partaking?
Oh, I do.
God, where's
It is.
Briar
No,
when
but
you need him?
Tefty's a narc, so no, this is just alcohol. This is
This is an
You're
alcohol.
only
This
a
is
narc
alcohol.
if you call other people narcs. by the way.
Well, it was edibles
Yeah.
and cookies, and it was alcohol cookies, of course. And then people had obviously like it was when I was younger. It's like let's not do anything, and it was like a boys' night. So like 10 of us, and everyone had way too many, and it just devolved into like just the most silliest stuff. Like at one point, I just thought it'd be funny if the dog was wearing my jumper. So then there was a dog just walking around with my jumper on. Cute looking dog had a jumper on. I was like, oh. And then the paranoia hit, and I think I had like a tack yak, and then people made me really paranoid because it was like an Airbnb. Like, oh, bro, they're gonna find you, they're gonna sue you, they're gonna like, they're gonna, oh, you're gonna lose your house. Like, just like crazy shit. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. I'm like,
Oh my god. They're gonna see the dog in the
man.
jumper. Oh god.
Evidence.
They're gonna arrest me.
I love the stereotypes of like you were like, yeah, I dressed up animals in human clothes. Got paranoid.
yeah.
Did all the right phases.
Tefty has my
Amazing.
favorite, I think.
Yeah, I've already told it before on the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Did you go get some dicks?
I don't think
Uh,
Fran knows.
I don't know.
All right, so
I don't know.
I don't really smoke weed, but every now and
Yeah.
then I'll partake. And I had some friends that worked at a weed shop in Hollywood, and they'd always try some stuff on me, and like I wouldn't really get high. So
Huh.
one night at a particular party, it was like it seems like it was New Year's Eve, but I don't think it was New Year's Eve specifically. But like that type of party was a bunch of people over at like the penthouse room where we had a bunch of friends in the building.
Oh, nice.
One of them had the penthouse, so they had parties. And so they brought this particular strand, and they're like, smoke this. We'll see. We'll see this one. Smoke this one.
The Maui Wowie.
Yeah. And I did, and I was like, nothing's happened. All of a sudden, it hit, and it finally hit.
Broke through.
It broke through. I had a breakthrough moment, and I suddenly realized that I had to become the spitting monster from Jurassic Park in order to channel the vibes of the strand.
The one that
And it
spits
makes-
on Newman?
Yeah, he was like, like that type of thing. And I had this like some sort of fur chinchilla thing that like we had as a prop. And for some reason, it was up there, and I was like, and so I was wearing it, and I was flipping it up, and so like the thing, I was doing the dinosaur thing, and there was people that I didn't know there also. So like it was friends, but also people I didn't know. And I was coming up to people and like doing the dinosaur thing. And
Just randomly.
they're like, what the hell's happening?
What's up with your
They found
friend?
entertaining, luckily, so I didn't get kicked out or anything. Yeah, and that was the experience, man. I became the dinosaur, the spitting dinosaur from Jurassic Park, and it felt
Yeah.
very natural. There was nothing odd or awkward in my mind about doing that at the party.
Yeah.
And that's how I was like, this is the first time it worked.
Just bringing up something that I more so believe. They're like, I think there might have been more in there than just a strong strand. You
Nah,
might
I,
have
bel
something
I
else.
believe it. I believe that it could make you just go back to, you know, it can make you do what you'd do if you're a kid, right? You're just a
Exactly, yeah,
kid
I felt-
having fun, like not feeling restricted by social
Yeah,
norms and pressure.
It was definitely kid-like vibes. I was
Okay.
like, but
yeah.
for whatever reason that hit my mind, and like, yeah, I was
This
Love that.
explains a lot. This is your true inner self. This is why you seek blood in marathon. You're a part dinosaur. Your soul
Part
is
dino.
saying dinosaur,
Dino, man.
and not any dino, like an aggressive spitting dinosaur.
By the way, it was a reputable shop, and I trusted these guys, so there was definitely not some crazy, you know, drug-laced situation.
Right.
or
They
something
own
like
a
that. Like,
shop, guys.
they own a shop.
They own a
like
shop.
I have a friend who owns a weed company. He's very successful, and like that's what he does. And like
Yeah.
they're doing this. So
I mean, when you are in a legal state, you can really fine tune how
Yeah.
crazy that strand can get. So,
there you go. It was
Yeah.
and also I smoked the entire blunt, I believe.
oh
What it
Jesus
was. So
Christ, yeah.
Well,
I've
because,
smoked too
I was
much
like,
before, and it felt
Yeah.
like the weed monster had came and slapped me. Actually, punched me in the head, and then it hits. It was like a big there's a hit, and then it just like you're gone. That's it.
yeah.
It's gone. You're gone.
Yeah,
You're now
and, like
dinosaur.
my tolerance was like, it's nothing. They like try, but like nothing. And then it was like, oh, okay, a little too much.
a little too
It's like
much.
nothing. Jurassic Park 4.
Yeah, I guess it's called the Dilophosaurus. is
That's
you
what I became.
And on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us for another
420.2?
episode of 420.4. It's like a radio station. 420.1 or what anything. Anyway. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure if you're watching live on Twitch, check out Fran later checking out some marathon. And that would be nice. And join us next week for more games. Something's happening next week. Oh, AT Ray Dow is happening next week. So we'll talk about the festival and AT Ray Dow next week all together in one delicious bundle.
2 weeks episodes from now, we'll be talking about The Edge of Fate, the new expansion.
The Edge
for
of
Destiny,
Fate
so
is going to be a big
Well, the future of
reveal.
Destiny
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm.
The what?
May 6th. Remember, that is when that reveal is.
And next week, we'll also talk about the Ghosts of Yote trailer and the fact that it's coming out October 2nd.
9 days after marathon.
We'll get
And
there.
Borderlands
We'll get
4.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Borderlands 4.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Then GTA will come out September 15th just to screw everybody over. No.
No.
not.
Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.